Here we are once again. We're going to continue working on this 3017 Poljot. We're going to assemble the balance next and get the fork installed, the pallet fork. If you notice, this is all apart. The bridge with the indicator on how fast it needs to run. This is a couple of parts here. Let's see. If you notice the top jewel, the capstone, it is flat on one side and convex on the other. That is the top part of it. So we're going to install this with the flat side up, and we take our regulator, or indexer as it's called, and we place it just like that. And then I'm going to orient this properly so the bolt holes line up, the screw holes, to make this as easy as possible. And then we lay that right on like that. Get things lined up pretty darn close and drop in a screw. Very tiny screws. A steady hand, good eyes are going to help you here. It's probably out of the shot right now, but I just held onto it with my finger to get that screw started. And then if you look, that screw hole's pretty lined up pretty nicely. And there's the next one. Neither of these are tight yet. I don't know if those holes are directional as far as the orientation. It could be, because I seem to have some difficulty here on lining that up. Okay, let's try that again. Let's get back in the shot. Okay, that lower screw we need to install. Don't know if that's going to do it. I might have to take it off of this. I'm on a rubber pad here. Let's try this. That might be easier. And if you notice, things can get out of hand as far as where that's got to line up. Seems easy. Always does. Okay, now we have we have it off that rubber pad, that rubber mat. Tiny screws, very tiny. Good Lord, are they small. Okay, they're in, but they're not tight. I want to, let's come back to the rubber pad, show you how that's looking here. This should, the indexer, swing with resistance, so it's a little tight, so it holds its position. And having this rubber pad, I can press down on this with my finger and hold on to the bridge. And that kind of digs into that pad a bit. That rubber mat padding, I don't know what it's called, helps grip it so it doesn't move on you. And there we have that part completed. Taking all of it apart and putting it in the cleaner ensures everything is spotless. It's always nice. Now let's put the hairspring in and the balance. I'm not sure where the indexer is going to go, so we'll leave it right in the middle. And before we do that, we have some 90-10. We're going to put right in the middle of that jewel. Let's get that in the shot. Okay, a little 90-10 for that jewel. Little drink of sparkling water, always nice. We may do this back on that pad again. Let's do that. That seemed to work out for gripping that. My lighting seems to be a bit off right now. Okay, here's our balance and hairspring. That's all ready to go. Cleaned, looking good. We had this ticking away prior to servicing, so we should be okay here. And one thing to note on the indexer, which I have to adjust, take care of now, that the hairspring goes in between the indexer and the indexer pin, right there. And we'll anchor this at the stud. Come on. Of course, the stud screw is directly underneath the balance there. And I just took it out because I got to reposition that. All right. Come on. We want to get the stud installed in its bore and the hairspring on the other side of that pin, all at the same time. Can be tedious. Okay, let's be honest. It is tedious. Come on. Okay, that screw should be tight. Then we can take the indexer. Are we in the shot? we can take that indexer I need to get off this pad. Turn that into place. Did that show up? I hope so. Okay, there we have that. A bit of a tedious operation, to say the least. This is resting in its jewel. That's always good. And I'm going to check the tightness on that stud screw. So I'm a little bit out of the shot here. We can move that off to the side since we're done with it. And we can get back to the movement and the pallet fork. Okay, let's get that ready. Should have this ticking any minute now. We got to locate our pallet fork. And before we do that, we're going to use some, what do I do with it? For the escapement for the pallet, the pallet stones, escapement oil, 941, 9412, I think it's called. Anyway, I do a little smear on the stones. You can do this after it's installed through the access holes in the movement. I like to do them now. Is that the right way to do it? I don't know. Probably not. But it works for me. Okay, here's our movement out of focus. Okay. Let's get that centered in its jewel. Next is the bridge that says 3017 on it. Fell into place pretty quickly. I'm going to take this to a loop, make sure we have the staff coming through the jewels, and one screw secures that. It's not really tight, it's quite loose actually. Okay, I just turned it over to make sure both staffs are coming through the jewels before we tighten this one final time. And our test is going to be, we give it a few clicks to wind it up. And that fork should snap back and forth with just a little bit of nudging. Looks nice. That's working beautifully. Okay, now we're going to put a little bit of oil on those pivot jewels. 90-10 is what we use. 90-10 on that side. And 90-10 on this side. And there you have it. Now we're running into 15 minutes here, so let's end this and we'll start the next one on installing the balance and checking chrono function. So stay tuned.